99% of history buffs fail this ultimate empire flag quiz. Which historical empire was represented by this standard? Identify the ancient empire that flew this legendary banner. Which empire's legions carried this iconic vexilla? Name the empire associated with this tetragrammic cross flag. Which empire used this double-headed eagle banner? This flag was the symbol of which historical empire? Which Central Asian empire used this distinct tricircle banner? Identify the empire or khanate that flew this flag. Which Persian empire used this green flag? To which empire did this triangular standard belong? Which East Asian empire adopted this flag? Which empire used this specific tricolor flag from 1858 to 1896? Which global empire's military and naval forces carried this flag? Identify the empire associated with this armillary sphere flag. Which imperial trading power flew this striped ensign? Which empire was represented by this eagle-adorned tricolor? Which dual monarchy used this merchant ensign? Which empire in the Americas used this flag? Identify the short-lived empire that used this tricolor. Which African empire flew this flag? Which empire's imperial standard is shown here? This flag was the imperial standard of which empire? Which maritime republic and empire flew this winged lion banner? Which European power used this red banner? Which Union of Kingdoms flew this cross flag? Which Northern Empire used this swallow-tailed flag? Which ancient Indian empire was known for this tiger banner? Which kingdom and future empire flew this black and white flag? Which empire used this black, white, and red tricolor? Which Southeast Asian empire used these alternating stripes? Which short-lived empire in the Americas used this flag? Which island kingdom flew this flag? Which West African empire used this flag? Which medieval empire flew this eagle banner? Which Napoleonic kingdom used this eagle-adorned tricolor? Which client kingdom of the French Empire used this lozenge flag? Which empire used this flag before the adoption of the black, yellow, white tricolor? Which Persian dynasty used this triangular banner? Which Iranian dynasty flew this flag? Which medieval empire was represented by these three lions? Which Balkan empire flew this lion rampant flag? Which royal kingdom and an empire used this flag? Which Mediterranean kingdom flew this quartered flag? Which maritime empire used the Senyera flag? Which sovereign state flew this flag? Which Islamic sultanate used this crescent flag? Which West African caliphate flew this flag? Which ancient Indian empire was represented by this banner? Which ancient Indian empire flew this bow and arrow banner? Which Indian empire used this boar banner?